Hey there, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to our weekly show. It's called Tournament Horse Racing. It's brought to you by Broke Guys Handicapping. My name is Rich Sharp. I'll be your host for this week's show, and here's how the tournament works. We've taken the horse racing calendar, we've broken it up into four separate horse racing tournaments throughout the year. Each one of those horse racing tournaments consists of 10 individual racing days, and well, that's actually what you're watching tonight. This is one of those individual racing days. A racing day consists of four races, and each of the horse players makes a mythical $2 win place bet in each of those four races. Whoever wins the most money wins that tournament. We actually keep track of that for 10 racing days, as I mentioned before. The winner of the most money over those 10 racing days wins that tournament. And we keep track all the way throughout the year. So even at the end of the year, we have four individual tournament winners, and we'll also have one year-end champion. This is the very final show for this year. This is the Breeders' Cup. It's day two. We're going to be doing 8 races, all in the same card tonight. Take a little break in between the first section of 4 and the last section of 4. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring in our horse players without any further, without any particular order. I'm going to start all the way on the East Coast. He lives in Staten Island, New York. Good friend of mine. His name is Ray Torado. Ray, how's life treating you? Happy Breeders' Cup Day.
Thank you. Yes, I'm doing good. Yeah. I wish we could all get on a plane and be there, but maybe next year.
All right, coming back over here to the West Coast and just a little bit to my south. He lives in Temecula, California. He's a longtime horse player. He's also a good friend of mine. He's a good friend of Ray's. Joe English, how are you, my friend?
Sounds good, Rich and Ray. What, next year, only you would have to get on a plane. So basically, the three of us get.
Yeah, we're in driving
Oh,
distance next year. It's
we
at
did
Santa.
that 7 years ago. We did it 5 years ago, right?
We're
8 years ago, and 5 years ago we did that. So
I would
possible.
I would consider Joe a good friend of mine too.
There you go. And I'm sorry. I
Thank you,
didn't want
Steve.
to
I
leave him out, but Steve, this is probably the last
I
member
mean,
of
he's
our
all right,
crew.
no matter what Rich says about him.
The last member of our crew, and he lives a little bit to the north of me. He lives up there in Menifee, California. Steve Newsom, how's it going?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Been swimming in horse racing sheets here and data the last 2 hours.
It's a good couple of days to make money if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's to be determined.
All right, folks. Just for our last disclaimer of the year, before I get to, I'll start sharing my screen and showing you what's going on tournament horse racing. Just a reminder that we are not a touting service. We're not selling our picks. Ray, Joe, Steve, and myself, we're just horse players. We enjoy the game. We hope you do too. And without anything else, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened, not last week, but last night on tournament horse racing. We got together to go ahead and handicap the very first 4 races of the Breeders' Cup, what I like to call the Juveniles Day. And as you see there, Joe English comes up with $25.76. As you see there, the whole crew had the 5 horse in race number 7, me excluded, of course. I didn't have that one. And then Joe also cashed in on Cave Rock there in race number 9 for the place. And that put him over the top to just Nick, Ray, and Steve there at the finish line. I wasn't too far behind, so that's what I like to see. I like to see kind of an even race, 4 across the wire, if you like. And we'll take a look at our summary so far for the 4th quarter. Again, this will be the last time we take a look at this tonight. I crossed over the century mark. I've got 3 wins. Ray's got 3 wins. Joe's got 2 wins. We're all still in the running. Again, Breeders' Cup has some big paydays. As you'll see down here, let me go down here, and Joe got the win there on day 1 of the Breeders' Cup. We're going for day 2 of the Breeders' Cup. Kind of have them backwards there, but we'll start off in race number 4. We've got a pick 4 that's going to go from race 4 through race number 7, and then we'll finish up with the Breeders' Cup Classic there at the end. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be looking at tonight. As I said, we're going to start at Keeneland. This is race number 4. Okay, they're going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. It is the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. It's a grade 1. The purse is $1 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upward, and your morning line favorite is in post number 8. I believe he's been on this show before. Golden Pal is 2-1. on the Breeders' Cup morning line. He's trained by Wesley Ward and ridden by Irad Ortiz. Our tradition here on Breeders' Cup is that whoever is in first place has to go first. That way, no blocking intended. And unfortunately, that means you have to listen to me for just a little bit longer. I really like Golden Pal. I was tempted to just eat the chalk in this one because he's a very strong one. I decided to go ahead and take a little bit of a shot here on an 8-1 shot. We've actually also seen this horse because we handicapped. Oops, let me bring up my toolbar here for you. But we handicapped at Kentucky, the Kentucky Downs card on this particular show just a few months back. So Campanelli, I believe it is, wasn't too far off in recent memory. I don't believe I had him that day. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive I didn't. But as you can see, the horse had won, two of his last three. The third place one was at Ascot in a mere 24 horse field, where he finished in a dead heat for third by 3/4 of a length. That was the Platinum Jubilee Stakes at Ascot in June, and then came right back off of that in September at Kentucky Downs. That's a big race, the ladies sprint, and won by a nose. Again, 12 horse field, so the horse is used to running against big fields like this. Frankie Dettori, who we just found out, sounds like he's going to be coming to Santa Anita to ride during the winter meet, and a Wesley Ward trained horse. So I will hand it off to Mr. Torado. What do you like?
Um, yeah, I was on the same horse, but you know what? Being that I'm behind and I can't
Here
win,
we
catching you being
here
the
we
same horse, I'm gonna change to another pick here. I'm gonna go with number 11, Casa Creed. Billy Mott's low size. I know this horse is shortening up, but he's got a kick, and if there's enough speed in the race, he could get up, and he has shown that he can handle Grade One races, and he just needs a little pace here, and hopefully we'll get it, and it could be a run to the wire. I know it's a short race, but if there's enough speed, they can blow out that first quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
He might be able to get up. So, I'll go with Casa Creed, number 11.
Ray, with Golden Pal in the race, you can be certain there's enough speed. Question
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
can
He
anybody
might be by
can,
himself.
any-
That's
can
that's the
anybody
problem.
can anybody run him down?
Yeah.
Pal's PPs. He hasn't lost in the United States since August of 2020, and that goes back 8 races, at least August of 2020. I can go back and probably figure out when or if he's ever been beaten on U.S. soil. But just looking at that, the last 2 losses were both at Ascot at the Royal Meet. But since other than that, in the United States, he hasn't been beat. Like I said, since basically over 2 years now. Unfortunately, like I can't be, not that I'm expecting to win a contest. But if you're playing a tournament, you're not going to be able to make up any ground betting all favorites. So as much as I like Golden Pal and as much as yesterday I was looking to single in him, I'm going another direction. I mean, I'm not going very far away from the favorite. I'm going with 6, Highfield Princess. What today showed was that the European horses on the grass were just better than our horses on the grass. And again, they're gonna have to do a lot to beat Golden Pal, especially his home track. But Highfield Princess, obviously, the last 3 races has won. The last 2, especially, very easily. Group ones at even a shorter distance than this. So 5.5 furlongs should not really be a problem for her. She's in really good form. She's run well fresh before. So I'm going with the 6, Highfield Princess again, 7-2. And maybe because Wesley Ward's local and a lot of people like his turf sprinters, maybe Golden Pal gets bet. Highfield Princess drifts up a little bit. Maybe you get 4-1 on this filly. So on the mare, excuse me. So number 6, Highfield Princess for me in the turf sprint. Steve?
Well, if you guys ain't gonna do it, then I will. I'm gonna take Golden Pal. Maybe the odds go up later. But yeah, I mean, I read Ortiz, Wesley Ward winning at 23%. Like Joe says, home track 4-0 in 4 races. 8-1-0 on the turf and at the distance. So Should be familiar territory. I'm gonna go ahead and take the favorite here. And if I put a pick 4 in, I'll probably single this race.
No, nice.
Just because I'm a cheap bastard.
Well, I think I made the case for many
Well,
years. You have to find some way to kind of keep the multiples down. So,
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah,
yeah,
got
unless you,
load them
you
up
got
on the other
short price.
races and play single and try and hit that one. Yeah.
You got short price favorites. You got to either try and beat them or you got to single.
Mhm.
Yep.
Generally, you don't play. You're not gonna play it. You're not gonna play Golden Pal amongst 6 horses.
No. Yeah.
all right. I believe we are up here to race number 5. Okay. The Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. It's a grade 1, and the purse is $1 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is I believe, in post number 7, and that's Cody's Wish, trained by Bill Mott and ridden by Junior Alvarado. Is 5-2 on the morning line, and to boot, that horse is owned by Godolphin, and if I'm not mistaken, beat Jackie's Warrior in his last race. I mean, uh, he's got some serious running lines, just to say that. I did not go with Cody's Wish. I did not go with the favorite one more time. I went outside. He's become a little bit of a favorite of mine. Cyberknife. He's trained by Brad Cox and is ridden by Florian Giroux. Um, he had a great performance back in the Arkansas Derby. So as a 3-year-old coming into the Kentucky Derby, and then he just had an absolutely crappy Kentucky Derby. Kind of threw in the bit. But out of that, came right back out of it. He won the Matt Win. He won the Haskell, and he finished second. He proved to be no match for Epicenter that day, and then he got beat by Taiba and Zandon. Again, those are the similars of his class. So I went ahead and went with Cyberknife here. Um, I do like those Sons of Gunrunner. Ray, up to you.
Oh boy. Well, there's a scratch here. I think Joe posted it on
Yeah.
the chat. Low River scratch. So if you don't think about playing that horse,
Yeah, that was
he's
my
out.
first
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Originally I did like Cyberknife, but once again, since I'm behind Rich, I'm gonna have to make an audible here. Um, Either he's gonna, get the money, or we'll try and beat him. I'm gonna go with Pipeline, Chad Brown, Flavin Pratt. He's been sprinting. I mean, he can get the mile hopefully, and this is probably a more of a class test for him. But Chad wouldn't be here if he didn't think he had a chance. So let's see how he does. And he did when third in the Fargo. A little more distance here for the mile, so maybe he'll be able to ration the pace and get the mile. So I go Pipeline. Joe?
Stay right there. It's funny. I'm not. It's not just for Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt. I actually like Flightline. I looked back and the race that highly motivated one ran beat Pipeline that day. That was the day that he set the track record, and then Cyberknife set the track record like five races later for the same distance. So obviously that was a very fast track that day, but did well to run well second in the Monmouth Cup that day. And then he came back to run against Jackie's Warrior, and he was the one who was pressing Jackie's Warrior, who ended up getting beat by Cody's Wish. The race, the one that was the race that Cody's Wish way into the Breeders' Cup. That was a win and you're in. But I like the fact that he's got speed. He showed he could stay with a sprinter like Jackie's Warrior for 4 furlongs, maybe 5 out of the 7. And in this race, I don't really see a lot of speeds. I kind of think he might be the one leading the pack. And again, because he's gonna, like Ray said, he may be able to ration his speed a little bit better, going a longer distance. It is 2 turns. It's something that Cody's Wish I don't think has ever won it before. It's also something I don't think that a knight has ever won at before. So there are horses who have not tried 2 turns or have not won at 2 turns. We're going to have to do it on the biggest stage. Now, again, not the greatest field, but like I said, I like Pipeline on the stretch out angle. Again, there's no Jackie's. I don't think he's going to have to contend with anybody who's got that kind of speed Jackie Warrior has. So my guess is he'll be close up. He'll get first run, and if he can hold off the closers, he wins. So give me the 3 Pipeline. See.
Yeah, I'm gonna do an audible on myself here. I'm gonna go with the 4 Law Professor at 20-1 here.
Who are you audibling from? Just so just for shits and giggles.
Well, I mean, I had the audible earlier, and I panicked, and I went with, and I was thinking Gunite, and I don't know. I'm gonna audible. And I'm gonna try to make up some ground on you. but yeah, horses it done well his last 2 races.
Okay.
One there on September 1st at Keeneland. Is won twice at the distance in 4 races, and
This is not Keeneland, but this is Kentucky Downs. But
I'm sorry. Yeah,
he's never raced. He hasn't raced at Keeneland just yet. But
yeah. Well, I was audibling on myself, so
I got you. No,
I didn't have anything written down here. But had a nice workout on the 29th.
Second to Life is good. It's not that bad. So
yeah.
And the rest are 10 lengths behind him. So run a good race.
Yeah.
Very formidable. Woodwood at BAQ.
Yeah, at BAQ.
We'll see it next year.
Yeah. But I mean, finish second to Life is good.
Yeah.
Can tell people that. All right. I'll fill you in for.
And remember, these place prices sometimes can really get you a good chunk.
Right.
You're rubbing it in.
Yeah, I figured. I'll take my third choice at 20-1, as opposed to my second choice at 7-2.
All right, here we go. We are off to race number 6. They are going 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf. This is the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly Mare and Turf. It's a grade 1. The purse is $2 million. It's for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is in post number 8. Taking here. Hold on a second. Nope, I'm on the wrong horse. I'm sorry. It's in post number 3. 8 and 3. It's my glasses. Nashua, trained by John Godson and ridden by Holly Doyle, is 5-2 on the Keeneland morning line. And I was tempted. That is a European horse here on the turf. I didn't know a whole lot about it. As a matter of fact, this whole race kind of set up like it was Europe versus Chad Brown. And you'll see it as we go.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Right? So, yeah, some kind of a crazy ride.
Exactly what this is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I decided to go one back of Nashua. I went from 5-2 down to a 9-2 shot. This is Joseph O'Brien. He's got a horse that's by American Pharoah, a 3-year-old, and John Velasquez is riding. And the horse has, a win pedigree here. Has got a first or a second, and then a third by just 3/4 of a length. And I believe that's the Arc de Triomphe Day in the Prix de l'Opera. There was the grade 1 with 16 horses that were in there, and finishes just behind Nashua in that particular race as well. So I decided to give a shot to the non-favorite horse here, and just went with the 4. Although I was again tempted to stay with the Americans in this one and go Chad Brown.
I was about to say the same thing. I read Chad Brown versus the world. Well, we have 3 Chad Browns here to pick from, so A, B, or C. We can have Italian go to the front. Would you enjoy chasing? And we'll get hopefully come from the back. soften him up. But that's why I went with number 9, Rogier. He seems to have a fondness for long distances, but
Yes,
even in Europe.
he does.
And I think the last race he showed a definite improvement because he was able to close. I mean, I know it was only 4 lengths, but he was able to gain ground over a very slow pace. I mean, if you see that -20 there, they're crawling. And Woodbine is known for those times, but you know the second half of the race is pretty fast, and he was able to get up by next. So he might have shown a little more speed there in the middle of the race towards the end. So I'm gonna go with him. Maybe he found his stride.
So
Doesn't win as much, but maybe it'll be his day. And the mile and 3/16 he can get up. So I'll go with Rozier with Pratt and Chad Brown. Joe?
Steve, you're gonna have to audible.
I don't think so.
Sorry. When somebody picks Flavia Pratt and Chad Brown before Steve, I just make that assumption.
No, no, he's fine this time.
Okay, good. I'm again just the normal reaction when we do the show.
My second choice today.
Today's Friday, but screw it, I'm going with Tuesday. Not that I really like Tuesdays that much, but give me Tuesday. And taking a look at her PPs, when the tracks in Europe are listed as good, those are about as firm as you're going to get. And she's run a lot better on firm or good turf courses. Obviously, you can see earlier in the year, second, third, first. The only bad performance was when she faced males in the Irish Derby, and Westover romped in that race. So really, she was only 3 lengths from being second in that race. So I'm going to disregard the last 2. Not that they're bad races. Like Rich said, 16 horses in the Prix de l'Opera and 11 in the Prix Vermeil, and she only got beat. She got beaten less than 3 lengths in both. So she's held decent form while running on courses she doesn't necessarily like. Tomorrow, I know there's a forecast for some rain at Keeneland. Not sure how much. Steve said very little. That'll give her a little bit. There'll be a little bit of give in the course, but it'll be a lot closer to firm than it'll be to good as they rate them over in Europe. So give me the 5 for the 2-time winners today, Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore, in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf Tuesday on Saturday. Breeders' Cup.
Tuesday or Saturday. All right. No, yeah, I'm going to go with one of the other Chad Browns, the 11 in Italian.
Aha.
I think Ray mentioned.
It's been
That's
one
speed
of,
horse.
yeah, it's been one of Ray's sneaky picks a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the horses won quite a few times.
Uh-huh.
5, 2, and 1 and 8 races on the turf. Won the last 2 at Keeneland on the turf. So yeah, I like the familiarity again and
She can motor. She's a quick horse. This is a really quick horse.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, 7-2 is not going to catch me up too quickly, but what the heck? You still got to win, right?
Yeah.
You still got to pick winners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's right.
Whether one of these tournaments has come down to just a few bucks, and it's like, yeah, that
Right.
doesn't, yeah, unless you've. Racing. Okay, so we've got. All right, I've got all 4 picks in. Hang on. Real quick. So this will be the final leg of our first pick 4 this evening, and we'll just take a few minute break, and then we'll come right back and we'll finish off with the races that conclude with the Breeders' Cup Classic. This finale is actually race number 7 at Keeneland. It is the Qatar Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. It's a Grade 1. The purse is $2 million for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is out there in post number 9, a really, really familiar face on tournament horse racing. Jackie's Warrior, trained by Steven Asmussen and ridden by Joel Rosario, is 4 to 5 on the morning line, and I think has been a star on this show for almost every single one of these races that you see here on the page. And as a result, I couldn't get away from Jackie's Warrior. I tried. There's a lot of good horses in this particular race, and I always have a penchant for the California speed in these particular races. But in this particular event, I chose to just accept what I feel might be the inevitable. Asmussen's a fantastic trainer. You got Joel Rosario aboard. Uh, Not necessarily, a super quick horse out of the gate, but Jackie's Warrior, all he does is win. 4-year-old who is 12 for 17 in his lifetime, plenty of grade ones and grade twos and grade threes sprinkled throughout this entire page right here, just as a 4-year-old, and has had 17 races. So, nice to have somebody who's kind of stayed around and we've actually been able to see quite a bit. So when I mentioned the fact that this is a weekly show, sometimes we see horses, multiple times throughout the year, and then you kind of start to, develop a little bit of a soft spot for them. I did get beat last year by Aloha West, who I have to note is back in this race again this year. So depending on how much speed there is, we'll see how this one goes. But I went ahead and took the 9. I went Jackie's Warrior. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, there's a big difference between 7 furlongs and 6 furlongs. And yes, Jackie's Warrior is going to be awfully tough to beat in 6 furlongs. I just hope he didn't lose his confidence by losing that race. But I'm going to pick Jackie's Warrior. It's one of my favorites too. You know, I hope, that this isn't his last race. He could go on next year, but I doubt it. Um, it'd be nice to have him go out with a Breeders' Cup
Yeah.
win. I'm rooting for him. I'm picking him. It's just one of those picks that he's a good horse, great horse in his career. He's done everything possible, but except last year didn't win the Breeders' Cup. So hopefully, he can get it done this time on more of an eastern track that I think he's more familiar with. Maybe Del Mar is just too much for him. So I'll go Jackie's Warrior. Whatever the price is, just give it to me. I'll take it. Joe?
Ray, you mentioned a couple things there. One, you mentioned that 6 is different than 7, and that's true. And you also mentioned that he didn't win this race last year. That's also true. I just looking at the race. It's funny. He reminds me a lot of Cave Rock yesterday. He's got a pace advantage over just about everybody in this race. I don't know that there's anybody who can keep up with him early, and he's got a shorter distance. There's no reason he shouldn't win. But like Steve mentioned earlier, I'm not catching up by betting favorites. So if you're playing a tournament style, there's no way I would bet Jackie's Warrior almost ever, or a horse like him, because when getting 260 and 220 isn't going to really win you a tournament. I went back to my old favorite. I went to Aloha West, and
that helped win you in the tournament last year.
But it's not just because he won last year and helped me win the whole thing last year. I've got reasons for it. If you look at his races from this year, first race was the Churchill Downs Handicap, grade 1, 7 furlongs. He drew the rail, which is not necessarily ideal, and he was probably short, and he ran up against Jackie's Warrior. So, okay, I'm not going to hold that against him at the start of the year, no biggie. Second start of the year was the Met Mile he ran against. Well, Flightline. Wow, nobody's beating Flightline. Nobody's breathing the same air as Flightline. So I'm not terribly disappointed that he didn't come close to Flightline. That's completely understandable. So I'm just going to say, okay, pass. Give him a new day. But the one thing about him that Speaker's Corner has been unable to do is, after getting his head kicked in by Flightline, he actually won a race last time out, going 6.5, coming from slightly off the pace. If he can do that again tomorrow, if for whatever reason Jackie's Warrior doesn't run his race, I think Aloha West at 12-1 has got a decent shot. Again, to me, Jackie's Warrior should win this race and shouldn't really have much of a sweat. But strange things happen in Breeders' Cup. Ruby lost, Ray. We remember that one. And not only did he lose, did he lose twice?
Twice,
Remember
yes.
it?
We
Yeah,
could be
he
going
lost
on the
twice
same
in the
path.
Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Yes.
And he was the fastest horse we had ever seen going 6 furlongs. So
Yeah.
strange things happen in Breeders' Cup. So again, I'm not going to catch up at Jackie's Warriors. So give me Aloha West, and if he's 12-1, give me all of that. Steve.
All right. Yeah, I got to try to beat the favorite too. There's again, I'm with you, Joe. We're way too far behind for that. I'm going to go with the 11, Flash of Mischief.
Ooh, nice.
There you go. 30-1.
There we go, Steve. Yeah.
Jockey trainer combination. I don't know anything about them, but they're winning at 24% in 91 races. Let's see what else I got here. Won last race at 6 furlongs, 2-0 at the distance. I think this horse really likes 6 furlongs. Was running at a mile and a half, or a mile and an eighth. In a couple of races, the 4 previous races. Won one of them, but really didn't do too well. So I think definitely likes these shorter distances, and hopefully we get a little upset on this one.
30-1 is not a little
couple
upset.
of nice workouts.
Yeah, no, you go. That's talking about, put it in the bag.
31 is a monster upset.
Yeah.
Especially if Jackie's Warriors in the race.
You have to be kidding me. I almost thought I screwed up. Just make sure I didn't, you guys know.
Got mine right. Correct.
11.
8.
Are you 11 or 8, Steve? You said
11. Yeah.
okay, 11. Okay, look at that. I got 5, 9, 11. Jesus, you guys. I had 4. Steve, again, Brian's whole gematria head would have exploded. God.
He's still trying to figure out the Houston Philadelphia thing from yesterday. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that's what they do. They go back.
They go backwards
together.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they work everything backwards.
I mean, when I looked at my notes,
Say,
I handwrite your guys's your guys's picks down on my notes just to make sure in case there's any technical difficulty that I've always got like a hard drop. And believe it or not, I take it to work with me so I can actually look at what's going on. And I look down, I'm like 5, not wait. I think you just wrote down the same numbers from above. What happened? You guys is picking the exact same damn horses. All right, so 5, 9, 11, 9. Does that look right, you guys?
5, 9, 9, 11, 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine are correct.
Yeah. I've got 4, 9, 4, 9. My combination for tonight. All right, let me come on back to you guys. All right, folks. Well, that's just a little bit of a glimpse into how tournament horse racing will work for tonight. We're going to come back. We're going to do the last 4 races of the Breeders' Cup. Again, it's Ray Torado and Steve Newsom, Joe English. My name's Rich Sharp. Show's called Tournament Horse Racing, and it's brought to you by Broke Guys Handicapping. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you. Bye. Go for it, guys.
All right. So we're just leaving it on and then coming back.
And we're back, just like that. All right. Let me go ahead and I'm going to start sharing my screen once again. We'll get right back to the racing form for tomorrow's action over at Keeneland Racetrack in Kentucky. Just as a reminder, we finished up the first half of this race. We finished up the juvenile yesterday. We finished up the first half of the Breeders' Cup in the first portion of the show. And now we are on to the second portion of the Breeders' Cup. It's going to start in race number 8. They are going 1 mile on the turf. It is the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the PDJF Grade 1. That's the Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund. That's who we purchase all of our bobblehead dolls from that you see back there, and that are actually at some of the houses of some of the players as well. The purse is $2 million for 3-year-olds and upward, and your morning line favorite is, let me see here, is in post number 4, excuse me. That is Modern Games, trained by Charlie Appleby and ridden by William Buick, 7-2 on the Keeneland morning line. And the reason I was getting a little bit confused as to who the morning line favorite was I couldn't help but notice that that was also my pick, and I couldn't think if I had just mistakenly copied that over. But I went with Modern Games. I've gone with this horse before. We've seen him there at Woodbine for the Woodbine Mile, and he did very well. I think I've tried this maneuver before, and I'm not sure if it's really worked out for me. Sometimes those European horses that come over and look so good over here in Canada or in the United States, and then don't necessarily bounce back so easily over there overseas. I'm not necessarily sure that this is the best of Charlie Appleby's horses that are in this race. I believe he has another one that is equally low odds. But I decided to stick with the four. Again, William Buick is one of the better jockeys in the earth. Charlie Appleby, right up there with Aidan O'Brien as the best jockey overseas. And I took this horse at 7-2. Ray, who do you like?
You know, it's funny, those percentages, if he keeps winning, you're gonna be seeing like 90%, 95% on the on the side, like a one of those A students, you know. He keeps going up. I think he won today, I think, right? Buick and Appleby.
Yeah.
They won. They did win one.
So what's that? 5 out of 6? That's 83 now.
Yeah.
I went with number 8, Regal Glory. I've been a fan of this horse for her career. And she's been running well. Her mile is definitely the best distance for her. And she's 7 out of 14 in the distance. Able to handle the grade ones. Probably will be in a stalking mode there, close to her pace, and she got a good trip. She ran pretty good last time in Keeneland. She's 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5 in Keeneland with 2 or 3 places. So, but she's had a good year, 3 out of 5, and hopefully she'll get a good trip. She'll go herself the layoff. So Jose Ortiz will be on board. So another one of those Chad Brown horses. So Regal Glory for me, number 8. Joe?
Hey, Rich, go back to number 4, modern games for me. Like I said, I had mentioned to you guys before we came back on that I had never seen anything like this. That prime power number, have you ever seen a number in the 200s?
Oh, my goodness.
I don't
Oh
think
no,
I've
no.
ever seen that. I swear I don't think I've ever seen it.
Hmm.
I've seen, I mean,
No, I
just
seen like
as a
180 something.
as a comparison, while
Wow.
Campanelli earlier was 185, Flightline is 166. So I'm not sure exactly what makes up that number.
Wow. Yeah.
Like I said, I've just never seen anything quite that high. That being said, as we've discussed already tonight, can't make up ground picking favorites. So Modern Games could win, absolutely, no doubt, but I'm going against him. I'm going with the Todd Pletcher 3-year-old in post number 11, Annapolis. Won the turf mile over this course last time out, beating a couple of these. Seems to be getting good at the right time. Irad Ortiz, I'm getting 10-1 on Irad Ortiz, on a horse who's never been out of the exacta, and his most recent loss was the Nation's Pride at a distance that probably was a little bit too long and maybe something he didn't want to do. So he's back to a middle distance of a mile. Like I said, he won the turf mile. I guess is it the Coolmore turf mile last time out of Keeneland. So I'm just hoping for a repeat performance like that. Maybe even get a little better, and hopefully he'll get the jump on Modern Games. And if Modern Games can run him down, so be it at 7-2. But again, like Ray was mentioning earlier, 10-1 place prices is still pretty good. If he pays $7 a place, that'd be fine. So give me the 11, Annapolis. Steve?
Yeah, well, probably none of your guys is surprised. I'm going a little bit further outside than you. I'm going to the 14. Domestic spending. Flavia Pratt and Chad Brown.
There you go. You found them.
Yeah, found one. Yeah.
No, somebody called Blood
I
Horse.
think I probably bet this horse before.
We've got a big story breaking here.
Got a big story. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve picks the Chad Brown combination, Flavia and Pratt combination for the first time in 23 hours.
His prime power is 180. Like that. He's
Right.
still playing
Yeah,
1
there you
behind.
go.
Yeah, Well, the thing about him is that he hasn't run since last August.
Yeah.
In over a
He's
year
ready.
since he's run, and a mile is generally not. Well, he's been running longer.
It's still 8-1, even with all that going against him.
Well rested.
Well rested, exactly.
He's ready to roll.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely
8-1.
most.
2-0 at the distance.
yeah.
6-1-1 on turf. In 8 races. It's
I like any 14s. That's my birthday.
There we go.
yeah.
Beware of those
I'm gonna
AEs
go.
might
I'm gonna
slip
go with
in.
the familiar again with the domestic spending and.
Probably the most wide open race on. I mean, unless Modern Games
I
runs off the screen again, with that prime power, who knows? If he doesn't win, I
Hey, Rich, that should
7,
be
8, 9
14.
of the
It'll be
would
Keno
sorry.
time.
Was it 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I write down for you? Oh God, you know what? I was looking up above.
You got it bet.
You were looking at the odds.
Mine's
I'm
the
no,
11.
no,
Right?
no, no. I've actually got you guys from your original picks. 11,
Oh,
8, 14.
right.
And the only reason I got mine right was because I picked the 4 in both races.
Hmm.
Hang on, let me put a little bit of a line through that. So get confused again. We don't normally do 8 races at a time, folks. I apologize for that. But speaking of 8 races at a time, on to the 6th race in that particular sequence for us. The 9th race at Keeneland. They're going 1.125 miles on the main track. It is the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff, Grade 1. Purse is $2 million for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. Your morning line favorite is out there in post number 6. It's Nest, trained by Todd Pletcher and ridden by Irad Ortiz. She is 9-5 on the morning line. I thought that might even be a little bit high. And she's like 7 for 10 in her life. She's 1 for 1 at Keeneland. She's 3 for 4 at the distance. She's raced against the boys. You know, there's a lot to like about Nest, and unfortunately, I did not want to take any chances. I keep hearing the adage of you can't win by betting favorites and all that, and yet here I am, chalk after chalk after chalk. I've
No,
got
Rich,
Jack.
the guys in the back can't win by
Yeah, I
betting
got you.
favorites
I
and
got
stuff,
you.
right?
I know. I know.
You
Um,
absolutely can.
but I've seen her. I've
Yeah.
seen her actually come up against the best of her division this year, and she's kicked the best of her division's butt. So about time that she takes on the older ones, and I think she's not going to have any problems there either. But I'm on 6. I've got Nest. Ray, who do you like in
Right.
the distaff? Who do you like among the ladies?
It's a very tough race. I mean, you have the best of 3-year-olds. You have the older horses here. And they're in good form. Yes, Ness is facing older horses here, and she has a run against Malathop. So let's see how they hook up. And that's why I'm picking Malathop. She's as game as can be. She's has all the grade ones this year just about, and she's done very well. Got beat by Claria a few times in the summertime. But overall, she's had a great season, and I'm gonna pick her just based on her consistency. And she's got the rail, so she got a good trip. She'll be in the inside, and hopefully she can won't get into any traffic trouble. And it's a good race, but no, I'm gonna go with Malathop. She's unfortunately giving 3 pounds, but being older. But there's some good horses here. There's a lot to pick from, I tell you. I saw Society run at Parks when I was there. And she blew off, Secret Oath, and she ran very well. So, but I like Malathot and you know Johnny B. Pletcher. Joe,
I'm laughing for some reason that I'll disclose later. Ray, you mentioned Society, and that's where I'm going.
hmm,
I mean, I'm not. I think Secret Oath is a little over the top. I think she's run so many
yeah,
races.
she's done for the year. Yeah,
And I just don't think she's got the same punch that she had. But I'm still not going to take away from what society did that day. She won the cotillion like a good thing. She was in front, far in front from 4 furlongs to the wire. Has to go an extra half a furlong today. But this is another race where I don't see a lot in the way of early speed. And if somehow Orangeru can set a nice early pace, not anything ridiculous, she doesn't have to do 46. She can go 47. Again, strange things happen on Breeders' Cup, and she's a 3-year-old filly. Maybe the 3-year-olds get good, and if they get, sometimes they get good. They get really good. Obviously, we've seen that with Nest this year. She's another one who's danced a lot of dances, and maybe she's just not as tough as she was because she's run so often this year. So, and again, because because I need a long shot. You're going to catch up. You're going to have to not bet favorites. So give me the 8 society 6-1. Steve.
Yeah, I'm calling an audible on myself again. I talked myself out of society, and I figured I probably need a longer shot than that. So I'm going with. Let's see. I gotta find my place again. I'm going with the 2 Blue Stripe. My third choice, really, but at 20-1, I'm going with them. Going with her. She's won 3 grade 1s. She's won a grade 2. She's won at the distance. Last race out, won at Del Mar. So yeah, no, I'm gonna go with another long shot here at 20-1 and try to hit with Blue Stripe. No comments on that one, huh, guys?
I actually thought you were going to take Flaming Chad Brown again.
That's
the comment I was going to make. I was going to say it's been about what?
You
5
would,
minutes.
all right, Steve. All right, well, okay, we'll come. I'll come.
I was picking
You win
up my
that one.
jaw.
I'm gonna buy you a red stripe. I'll ship it out to you.
I thought it was like a Navy beer.
I'll ship out a red stripe for you, right? My coworker can get the red stripes. So I'll ship them out to you.
I'm sure you can find them out.
You can. Yeah. I'll Venmo you some money.
You just Venmo us the money. We'll buy it.
Yeah, you can buy red stripes. Yeah.
Sure we can.
But you know what? We've always learned on Breeders' Cup that any horse is playable. I'm telling you. That's why they're there, Seriously. That's why they're
You
there.
can justify betting on any horse, right?
That's right. You can. You
I
can.
agree.
That's why they're there.
Well, maybe there was one exception.
There's one exception.
And Rail know Rick's natural star is. I don't know if Rich.
Oh. Yeah, I top some tickets were there.
Yeah. Well, hell, I remember being at one of the first Breeders' Cup I ever went to out here was in '93. I came out here for it. That was the year that Og Kong won at 131.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. The second to last, or the penultimate, I guess, if you like, race of our tournament, for the individual tournament and for the year, kind of winding down the Breeders' Cup as well. So this is race number 10. It is the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf, Grade 1. Purse is $4 million for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite it's in post number 5. It's the Invader from overseas, Rebel Romance, trained by Charlie Appleby, ridden by Jimmy Doyle, 3-1 on the Keeneland morning line. And I was torn in this race. I really was. I haven't seen this horse race before, the Rebels Romance, but I am a huge fan of Charlie Appleby, the Dolphin, Jimmy Doyle, Dubawi, yada yada yada. This horse has got a ton to like. um, I guess I kind of went other Charlie Appleby, if you like. I went with the one that does have some familiarity so far with the United States already. So I went with Nation's Pride. Also, Godolphin, Charlie Appleby, William Buick. We already talked about him. You don't quite have the sire on the top like the other one does. But this horse has been successful. Came over and in the first race was at Belmont in the Belmont Derby, which is an invitational, and that's a big time stakes race as well. Was second by just 3/4 of a length, as you can see right there. Was no secret either. Was coming over as the favorite. Came right back in the Saratoga Invitational, another big one that's an invitational. Again, $2.10 and then 55 cents on a dollar. The horse has been favored in all three of those races and does very well here on the turf. And so I ended up going with, I guess, in this case, you could say it was the other Charlie Appleby by going for a 50 cent higher price. Ray, who did you like?
I was torn between a few horses here. I'm gonna go for the American horse here, Warlike Goddess, number 2.
Oh, there we go.
She's been running all the Philly against the boys and Mare actually Mare against boys. And she's proven herself to be very, she's 5 for 5 the distance. She loves this distance, and she's has a good record of 9 out of 12. And she's finally I mean she even won the Turf Classic at Aqueduct, Belmont Aqueduct, and she's in good form, had a good year. So I'll go with Warlike Goddess, number 2, Martin Rosario, to get the $4 million prize. But I just have to mention there's a horse here in this race who has won $15 million in the mischief. So if that horse wins, well, that'll be up to 18 million for that horse. What's the record? 20.
Doesn't
Most money
Gunrunner
earned.
have it, Rick?
Curlin? No.
Mm,
No,
Or Gunrunner?
doesn't Gunrunner have it?
it may have been
Uh,
Gunrunner. I'm trying to think if it was somebody even more recent though than
Aaron Baker?
Gunrunner.
Yeah.
There's been a
That's
couple
a
of.
lot of money.
It would have had to have been somebody who won the Saudi Cup.
That's
Won
what I was
the
thinking. So I
$10
think it's
million.
one of those horses that won the Saudi Cup recently.
Yeah. Oh, what was that horse's name? Horse that we've all forgotten about. Horse that was disqualified from. The hell was his name now?
Oh, Maximum Security.
There you go. But then again,
Oh.
because we don't know if he's actually been paid out for that.
I'm trying to think. I think there might
I
have
think
been
it was.
somebody. Yeah,
It
it
might
may
be Gunrunner. I'm not sure though.
maybe. All right.
Yeah. It would have, so is it my turn?
I believe it's Joe's
Yeah,
turn.
Joe. Sorry, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go
Yeah.
find
Okay.
Mishra, the $15 million horse now.
Yeah, right.
It's funny. This race is not. I don't know. There's just something about it that I don't. It doesn't have the quality to me that this race has had before. It seems as if it seems like most of these are a notch below where I'm used to this race being. I went with the 4 Room for Aiden O'Brien and Irad Ortiz. That's a combination that you rarely see, if probably may not have ever seen before.
Oh wow, yeah.
These teams, see, I'm happy that he's back on firm ground again, a lot like the other horse that I mentioned earlier in the card. The last 2 races were on soft turf at Longchamp, and the horse obviously did not appreciate it. Maybe it's because he was over the top, who knows? But obviously, he ran second last year in this race at Del Mar to Yavir, and speed figure there is 115, which was pretty solid, and finished 4th in the Sword Dancer at Saratoga earlier this year. Obviously, having a bad start and having to come from far back just wasn't able to get the job done against Kufo that day. But still ran a decent, creditable 4th, beating only a length and a half. Give me Irado Cheese, give me 12 to 1. I said, to me, this seems like a weird race that just about anything can happen. And like I said, Aiden O'Brien won a couple of races today already. So give me the 4. Broom to sweep everybody away. Broom. Steve.
All right, I'm calling an audible on myself again because I wasn't going, with long enough shots. So Omaha. So I'm going with the 13. I forgot its name, and I read it down.
It was a $15 million. No, not this race.
No. Highland
Hi-
Chief. That's right. Yeah,
Highland
Highland
Chief.
Chief.
Oh yeah.
Johnny V on board. Graham Motion. They're winning 18%. So they've hooked up a few times. Horses 1-0. Won its only time out at Keeneland, which was its last time out at a mile and a half. Grade 3 Sycamore. But previously a European horse, so we got that pedigree. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Highland Chief. See if I can hit it 15-1.
Like the strategy. Go big or go home,
Well,
huh?
I don't know. I can't back off of it now, right? I keep going with my third choices tonight.
All righty.
Oh, Rich, I have the top 4 money owners. If you want, it's
Yeah, go for it, Greg.
Arrogate 17.4 million, Thunder Snow 16.5 million, Gunrunner 15.9 million, and California Chrome 14.7 million.
Oh wow. All right.
So,
Okay. So maybe is that just North America? Because obviously Mishriff is 15 million, and he's not on that list.
yeah, I just
That's just North America. But
yeah,
Thunder
probably.
Snow didn't run here that often. Oh, interesting.
Oh,
And I would have thought Thunder Snow's big money would have come from the overseas race.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
If
yeah.
he's on that list, that's when he won
don't know.
the
Yeah.
World Cup.
Oh,
But Arrogate top.
Yeah, I knew Arrogate. I mean, I remember California Chrome winning, obviously, because he hung around until he was almost 6. Okay. Thanks for the update, Ray. And now we're on to the finale. The big one. This is race number 11. It is going 1.25 miles on the main track. It is the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, Grade 1. Purse is $6 million for 3-year-olds. Excuse me, for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is surprise, Flightline, trained by John Sadler, ridden by Flavian Pratt, and he is 3-5 on the Keeneland morning line, and 3-5. I mean, and not surprising that Joe and Ray and Steve and myself were joking this week. See a text message about Flightline's every activity. It's yours. We weren't the only ones that were watching. And the only thing that could be sad about this race is I fear that this could be his last one. Although I would hope that maybe they would stay around to see if they could win some of those big money races that start off next year, or that shouldn't they start off that are kind of scheduled towards the beginning of next year, which include the Saudi Cup and or the Dubai World Cup.
Yeah.
That being said, I picked Flightline. I feel like I was doing like a commercial for a
Figures.
a political candidate in a safe district and like that. It's like, well, I'm just going to do a public service announcement because there's really nothing else to say. It's like, hey, horse racing, good for you, good for your family. um, John Sadler, Flavian Pratt, obviously a very nice combination. Pratt's been aboard the horse all his life. We started talking about him last year. He came out in April of last year, and although he has not been the most consistent of horses as far as health wise, he has been a very consistent horse as far as race wise is concerned. Once you get him to the actual track, he is explosive. The only race that you see there that was not a double-digit victory for him was the Met Mile, and he actually had some trouble in that particular race. So, um, in the Pacific Classic, that was one of the more impressive things I've seen in racing in a long, long time. So, and it wasn't necessarily a poor field that he was racing against. I am looking forward to seeing what he can do against some of the horses who are in here. I really did enjoy seeing. I think I personally will enjoy seeing a race that includes this horse, Life is Good, who we have seen on this show a number of times, and who I really conditioned myself to sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to pick him because he's 6-1. It's Irad Ortiz and Todd Pletcher, and I really do want to go with Life is Good because he really is just that good. But I got a feeling that Flightline might be something else. I'm gonna go with the 4 Flightline, even though he's only a mere 3-5, and who knows, I might not be able to even get that. Ray, last pick of the year, last pick of the season, the tournament, the whole shebang. Who do you like?
Well, can we make our pick after the last race? When we know the standings. How's that?
No, this isn't a live event. No.
Live. Um, well,
Only if your pick scratches do you get that luck.
well, I'm gonna go, and I've seen. I mean, we've seen a lot of Beers Cup classics, and speed is very, very dangerous. And I want to see Life is Good and Flightline hook up, and I want to see who's gonna get the best of each other. You know, I'm gonna go with a horse. I think them two are gonna knock each other out. I honestly in this race. So I'm gonna go with a horse who's gonna be right next to them and is gonna pick up the pieces. And I'm gonna say Hot Rod Charlie, number 5. He's been in a lot of
Oh,
big events, main events, the big races. He's gotten, I think he's got disqualified, or he's been put up. He's been it's a lot of action in his life. So he's a gamer, and I'm just, he's 15-1, and it's in this field, he's worth it. I mean, he's worth a pick. He's had a good year, he had a good career, and he deserves to, get the big one.
And he's
I
never
mean, he did
ever
win in
been. He's
Dubai,
never.
so
Yeah, he's never been anything close to 15-1.
yeah. So
right.
for a price for that kind of horse, who very possible Life is Good and Fight Like could just, I mean, toss each other out at the top of the stretch. Remember, it's a mile and a quarter. It's in a sprint. It's in a mile. This is a classic distance, and if they could carry the speed that far, pressuring each other, God bless them. So let's see what happens. It's gonna be a hell of a race anyway, strategy wise. You know,
Yeah, he was in
I
the.
want to
He
see
was.
how happens to Flightline when he actually feels the whip. He might have a little weird reactions because
You might, you might jump.
he's had he's had things so easily that I mean he's been able to run off on his own. But Life is Good. He'll be right there too. So it's gonna be a good mile. I tell you. To see, and it'll be a good race. Something worth watching. So Joe, oh Joe's coming back.
Is he there?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
there he is.
no, I just went to turn off a light. For the first 39 weeks or 39 contests and races, basically we've been trying to pick winners and trying to make sure we get the most money and get value and do all this other stuff. I'm picking Flightline in this race. I don't care about statistics. I don't care about any of that other stuff. I don't care where I am in the standings. I want to see this horse put together one more gigantic race like he did in the Pacific Classic, and let's see if he's as great as everybody says he is. Let's see him do it on the track, like Ray says, and we've been talking about it all night. Anything can happen on Breeders' Cup. Weird things happen. 130-1 shots win. But I'm going in this. I'm going in as a fan. I want to see how the race plays out. I actually think Ray, if Flightline and Life is Good knock each other out, I think Epicenter wins actually.
Mm.
But like I said, I just think they've treated Flightline like he's been special ever since he was born. He didn't get to the debut until until May of his 3-year-old year. So obviously they knew what they had. I'm going to assume that John Sadler will get his second Breeders' Cup win tomorrow with Flightline. Like I said, I'm gonna watch it as a fan more than anything else. I don't really care about the price.
You
I'm
think they'll
interested
be
in
neck
kind of
and
figure
neck,
it
Joe?
out. I
The
don't know.
pace.
I
That's
I think
interesting.
Life Life is Good is going to try to do what he did to Nick's Go in the Pegasus World Cup last year.
Why not?
I just don't know that Flightline's just going to let him get away. And I think Flightline's a little bit more two-dimensional. He's a lot more one-dimensional than Nick's Go was. Nick's Go was he needs to be on the lead, go in 2 turns. Around 1 turn, he wasn't that great. He was a 2-turn horse. He was a 1.8 mile horse who needed to be on the lead. Once he was taken out of that game, that race was over. I don't think Flightline's as one-dimensional as he is. So I think they don't mind if Life is Good goes, but I don't think they're gonna he's gonna be in their sights for sure. Steve, are you awake?
All right. Yeah, so I got to try to beat the favorite myself too. So I'm gonna go with the 1, Iba. Uh, I think the horse is back on track. Mike Smith been riding him the last 4 races and got him back on track, I think. And I think I have a note that I wrote down here. I said only horse that might have a chance to sniff Flightline's ass. Rail wins at 21%. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Tybo.
I do believe he's been your boy this year.
Right?
Yeah, Tabor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought Zandon was his boy.
I know.
I picked Zandon in the race
He had
before the Kentucky Derby, I think, and I also picked Tyba in the
Picked
race.
him in the Derby too.
Yep. Well, I picked Tyba in the Derby.
I think
I
Tyba may
think
have.
And,
I think
yeah,
Tyba
I
may
think
have.
at 3/4, Flightline goes after him.
Yeah, I think
At
Tyba may have
3/4.
given him a victory in the preps tournament that we had earlier this year.
Yes,
Take,
yes, he did.
yeah,
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
okay, you guys, for one last time this
Yes,
year, go
yeah.
ahead and just take a look at your picks. Make sure I got everything correct.
Got it.
7-4. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and come back to you. Well, that's the marathon version of tournament horse racing. 2 for the price of 1. Steve and Ray and Joe, thanks a lot for kind of sticking around, helping us put this all together. It's always a lot of fun for the Breeders' Cup. Anybody got anything they want to say? This is our last tournament show for the year, and
I do.
yeah,
I have 3 things actually.
go for it.
1, if you haven't voted already, vote. Today is election day. Especially if you're in California and you want sports betting, get to the polls. 2, don't forget on Saturday night/Sunday morning, turn your clocks back if your state observes. Okay. The third thing is good luck in Breeders' Cup. Tomorrow's first Breeders' Cup race is 11:50 Eastern, 8:50 on the West Coast. So that's it.
All right. Well, I've got one thing that I just wanted to say, and this actually goes to my 3 friends, as I call you, my handicappers, for the show that we put together. I wanted to thank all of you. It takes a village, and it's the 4 of us that kind of come together that go ahead and make this video cast what it is. And I really appreciate the dedication. I'm the mathematician, the statistician, if you want. And this makes 45 episodes if you count the 5 preseason episodes that we had of tournament horse racing for this year.
Wow.
They were broken up into 4 equal tournaments. Yeah, exactly. There's only like 7 weeks out of the year so far that we don't do this. So we're heading into our little hibernation period right now during the holidays. And we usually come back and we start up again right after Christmas, where we kind of have a little bit of a preseason before we get started again in 2023. So again, thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the three of you.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
great
we're
thing.
looking forward to these races.
Always look forward to Fridays and Thursdays and whatever weekends and
Yeah.
whatever track
And
we're
have-
doing. It's always something to look forward to. Are we doing the show next week?
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll come back. You know, I think we'll
we should
probably
do
do
a
like a
recap.
we could
Yeah,
do a
yeah
wrap up, I guess.
we'll do a recap. We'll do a season
recap.
we'll
Yeah,
do a season
recap
in
and
review next
yeah,
week, and that way we
that
can
sounds
also
good.
see
Yeah,
who won this week, and I can hand out the trophy for the tournament, and we can actually find out who won for
yeah.
the year as well.
We we don't have to do that on Friday night if we don't want to, but we can.
Yeah, we can.
Well,
We have time. We have time to work on that decision. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We can
all
do
right.
that, combine it with a pick 4 or something.
Yeah, exactly. We can find some place to do a pick for. All right, gentlemen, that's going to do it for tournament horse racing for 2022 for Steve Newsom and Ray Torado and Joe English. My name's Rich Sharp. Show's called Tournament Horse Racing. It's brought to you by Broke Guys Handicapping. Thanks, everybody. Good night and good luck tomorrow at the Breeders' Cup.
Good luck tomorrow. Your bets.
good night
Good night,
and
guys.
happy holidays, health and lots
Yeah.
of prosperity for everybody.